And look at these dramatic pictures. On the left of your screen is a live look at the highway from Chopper 6. The collapse looks like a crater on the interstate. On the right, you're looking at video from earlier this morning. That is the fire from a tanker truck underneath the on-ramp, which appears to have caused the collapse. This is causing a major highway headache right before the return to work on Monday for so many people who rely on I-95. Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson is live on the scene with the very latest. And Becca, this will take some time to repair. I know a news conference just happened.
It did, Nydia, and what we learned is that 95 is going to be inoperable for a very long time. And I can show you behind me, this fire is still burning, crews still working to put out some of this smoke. A big question right now is what is burning, what is inside that tanker truck that caught fire. It was underneath the 95 overpass over Cottman Avenue. That's a road, it's not a place where people typically park their cars. So where it caught fire, it caused 95 to collapse. Above it on the northbound side, those dramatic images you can see some of our video of the initial fire. It happened around just before 6:30 this morning on 95 northbound near Cottman Avenue. Of course, that tanker truck appeared to be underneath the roadway. That fire, of course, caused then the road to collapse above it. 95 as people were driving it this morning. One question we have at this point is what's the extent of the injuries here, if anyone were hurt? After this collapse, we saw videos of cars driving over as the road was starting to sink, and all of the smoke and all of that fire coming from underneath the roadway. Just terrifying images, thinking that people are on that road. Of course, I don't know if you can hear it, Nydia, some of the explosions that are happening. We did ask the fire chief about that. We think that some of the fuel lines that are underneath the road are popping right now. A very terrifying scene here, really. Hear from the fire battalion chief.
Did have a collapse of 95, okay, on the northbound side, okay, and the southbound side is compromised by heavy fire. Looked like we had a lot of heat and heavy fire underneath the underpass.
And we have Chopper live over the scene. You can see the road is quite literally collapsed. This is a state route, of course, 95, a road that so many people rely on just for commuting to get to and from work. A very busy road in 95 that is inoperable. Part of it on the ground, of course, it collapsed. It literally collapsed. Back out here live now, we are still hoping to learn more information, including, of course, if anyone were hurt in this incident. And we are worried about what is burning, what could have been inside that tanker truck. We did talk to the city about this. They said they are very concerned about the environmental impacts of this. There are agencies from all over the state coming out now, coordinating as the response to this continues. For now, live here near the collapse, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6, Action News. Nydia.
Dramatic images and still so many questions. Becca, thank you.
We have a press conference that just wrapped up near the scene of that I-95 fire and collapse. We want to head right out to our reporter there on scene. Madeline Wright has been there tracking the very latest for us all morning long. So what did we learn in that press conference, Madeline?
Good morning, Jan. Yeah, we just got an update a couple seconds ago from the Emergency Management Office as well as the Philadelphia Fire Department. What we learned is that this is going to be a long day for the fire department. They're still working to get this tanker fire under control. They've kind of backed away from actually calling it a tanker fire. They said it's a possible tanker truck that caught fire, but it was definitely a vehicle fire underneath I-95. And right now, I-95 is shut down in both directions between Academy Road and Bridge Street. What we learned in the press conference is that one of the biggest challenges of the fire department getting this fire under control is that the seat or the origin of the fire is buried underneath thousands of pounds of steel and concrete and other material. Because what happened was when the vehicle caught fire, I-95 North collapsed on top of it. And so when firefighters have been using these ladder trucks to pour water on it from the top, not all of that water is seeping to the bottom. And so for the last 2 hours, they've been working to fight this fire. I'm going to take a step out of the way so you can take a look at the scene here. This is the intersection of State Road and Cottman Avenue, which is the staging area for the police department and the fire department. Now there's also a federal response involved because the interstate is shut down, and it's going to require heavy construction to rebuild the portion of the road that was collapsed. I want to pull up some video if I can showing Chopper 3, the damage from above. The northbound side has collapsed and the southbound side is questionable because it's buckled. The commute tomorrow is going to be a mess. This road is not going to be open for some time. It's going to there's damage that has to be assessed. It's going to be very difficult for people tomorrow, especially those who have to go to the northbound side of the highway in the Tacony area, which is where we are now. Locally, the roads around the highway are also shut down at this hour because the emergency response is still active. The 2-block radius on the north and on the east and the westbound side of the highway is blocked off. There have been some explosions within the last hour. I counted about 13 or 14 booms that we heard. I saw a manhole cover flying into the air. We're told that that's a buildup of pressure from underground. There's also an environmental concern here. There's some fuel that leaked that they're worried could spill off into the Delaware River. The Coast Guard is involved trying to keep that situation under control. But the main thing for people to know right now at home is that the north and southbound side of I-95 are shut down in both directions between Academy Road and Bridge Street because of a vehicle that caught fire underneath the highway. And this part of the road will be shut down for some time. There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of different agencies are getting involved. There are hundreds of people who are involved in responding to this incident and dealing with the aftermath of this incident. This is right in the middle of an industrial area. There are homes and businesses. There are some abandoned warehouses as well. I'm looking right now at a citywide roofing company and a used car dealership. So people who need to go to these businesses are not going to be able to get in here because of the roads being shut down in the wake of this vehicle fire underneath I-95. It's still unclear from that press conference whether anybody was hurt. The vehicle that caught fire was presumably parked. It didn't seem like it was in motion. They haven't found any driver of that vehicle. But there is an investigation underway to track down the person who the vehicle belonged to, as well as the cause of the fire. That part's going to take some time as well. But the immediate situation is getting the fire under control because it has reignited in the last hour or so. And then assessing the damage in the aftermath and police having to figure out a way to divert traffic around the highway since the highway is going to be shut down for the morning commute. So big mess here in Tacony. And we'll keep you posted with any new developments on air and online. Live in Tacony, Madeline Wright, CBS News, Philadelphia.